Hello and welcome to the Shark Bite Show. I'm Nick. You're John. Hi, John.
Hey, Nick, how you doing?
How you doing, buddy? Thank you for hopping on.
Oh, no problem.
How is your beautiful Thursday going?
It's going pretty good. Just doing all the normal adulting things.
Awesome. For new as a note, John is one of our coaches here at Shark Bite. He's a longtime member now. He's also a firefighter. He's a dad of a young hedgehog, and he's ready to talk about his fitness journey. His son likes Sonic the Hedgehog. He's not actually a hedgehog. Um, John, bro, what brought you to Shark Bite to begin? Like, where's your like origin story for coming to Shark Bite Fitness?
I've been interested in fitness and involved personally since pretty much getting into high school. So always trying to stay fit. Parents were very athletic and stayed active and everything, so they kind of viewed that in me. And then as I got older, started getting kind of bored with the okay, let's go and lift for 30 minutes cardio, walk out, headphones, not talk to anybody kind of thing. So I actually started getting into different martial arts training, jujitsu, boxing, stuff like that. I had more class atmosphere. So I kind of mixed it up a little bit and kind of got me involved with a few different people. Had a lot of fun with that. Wound up having to step aside from that because I just didn't have enough time with having a young child when my son was born. So started trying out different functional fitness gyms. After a couple of different swings, wound up landing Thoroughbreds, which you wound up acquiring over in Fort Myers and became Shark Bite. So that's about it.
Yeah, that's cool, man. What made you want to go away from the like headphones in, not communicating with people? Like, what made I understand, but what made you bored about that? Like, what made you want to look for something different?
When I find that fitness is a big part of my life, I was personally motivated enough to walk through the doors, but you're still sitting there looking down at your watch going, all right, I got 10 more minutes. Uh, yeah, I guess I'll go do this. And it kind of becomes this internal monologue where you're kind of forcing yourself through it and going through the motions. You're just not getting as much out of it as you want to. So with the class aspect, you get the social aspect of, hey, cool, I want to go see so and so when I walk into the gym. Hey, cool, this person's coaching. I love their classes. The friendly rivalries you get, stuff like that is that motivation that's just inherent with it that really makes it fun.
Cool. So, can you remember what your first workout was? Because when we acquired CrossFit Thoroughbreds back in
Hmm
2020, I didn't actually meet like you or any of the members until
hmm
we'd already moved because the world shut down. Uh,
Yeah.
can you remember your first workout in our like tiny little Shark Bite Fort Myers space?
Oh, first. Well, the first workouts that I had were coming out of the world shutting down, where I got to bring my kettlebell and two dumbbells that I think I borrowed and go and hang out in the parking lot and go do whatever we could manage. Yeah, we're Brian and Sue and so that were
Mhm.
kind of doing whatever with the groups and putting together what we had with what we could put together with the equipment that we had. So that was definitely one of them. Can't say I remember what the first all around class was at that point that it took, but um, definitely had a great time with it. So I'm stuck with.
That's well, I can remember maybe not my first, but the first time that I definitely remember you was I hopped into a class and we had deadlifts and I'm a pretty good deadlifter. I feel like I'm pretty good. I feel confident with most people that I'm pretty strong. I could not believe how much weight you were lifting. I was like, what it was, I think it was you, me, and Rich. And I was like, what is going on here, dude? What, I, I'm going to blow my back out.
The wild thing is from then to now, my deadlift PR, I believe, has gone up some 150 pounds or more.
That's insane. Oh, that's so
Yeah,
impressive.
and it's actually one of the wildest things that I tell people. It's not just what you do, it's how you do it, right? So again, I bounced around to a couple different gyms, but one of the biggest transformations that I noticed personally, without changing anything else, diet, um, anything else except for a training program, I actually lost a pant size and gained 10 pounds
That's so cool.
within 6 months of switching to Shark Bite.
Yeah, and I mean, it was to anyone who hasn't seen you in person, like that was definitely muscle. You are
Mm.
a jacked individual. um, what was your okay? So I guess that's kind of in line with what I was going to ask next. Like, you tried out gyms on your own. You tried out a
Hmm.
couple other group style gyms. You ran a CrossFit gym, and then you came to us, sort of not by your own choice. So what was the biggest surprise about like Shark Bite versus say some of the other gyms that you've been to, like the fitness style or the coaching style?
Well, some of the other gyms I went to, they tweaked or changed the workouts per kind of what their preference was. So if I had somebody that really loved like the longer motor workouts, we did that 7 days a week. There wasn't a variety built in there that kind of allowed you to build a different, strength base, sprint, the variety that was in there. Um, and then also finding out that even though I want to say I've been doing CrossFit functional fitness for I want to say 3.5 years or so before I went there. I was doing it very wrong. Um, yeah, I mean, some of the earliest things you'd come up and you'd grab my shoulder and just shove your hand into my shoulder blade, like, no, this is how that goes in. Like, pull it back. I'm like, oh, I am. He's like, you're like, no, no, you're not. Here, move. Like, oh, okay, cool. So that's what that's supposed to feel like. All right, that hits completely different, and also, oh, cool, I get to wake up without back pain today. That's good. So
Do you remember?
a
Do you
lot of
remember,
those
John, when
things
you were
changed.
starting off as a coach? Do you remember, like, I had to tell you, like, we have to be with guys your size. We have to be like really physical because, like,
Yep.
your shoulders don't move quite as easily as like a 115-pound girl. I gotta drive into you to get the right feeling.
Yeah, flexibility of the Tin Man. Yeah, it does not move very easily whatsoever. So yeah, I'm glad that you weren't afraid to get in there and just no this way. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there were two hands and a foot involved a couple times, but we got it there.
And 150-pound PR later.
Yeah, 150 PI. Well, that's the thing. They said it was 10 pounds lighter, or 10 pounds heavier, pant size smaller, 150-pound deadlift, a minute off my mile. Like it was all these little things that kind of came cumulative with it that I saw pretty big changes.
Um, what is something that keeps you like because you've been connected to working out regularly for a very long time and you're a
Hmm.
human being, so I know that there are times where your motivation wavers and you're like, I don't really want to do this. Doesn't matter how much fun we make it. I understand that that's a thing that happens. What keeps you coming back, like even on days where you don't feel like working out?
Well, a variety of things. One, I'm not the youngest guy at the station anymore. I'm the guy in charge, so I'm kind of older than everybody, but I'm still very much in the mix, and I still need to be able to, at least keep up. In my opinion, I need to surpass. If I'm going to be the supervisor, I'm the leader. I need to be able to be the guy that is driving everybody. So, um, frankly, can I run circles around a guy half my age? Yep. Okay, let's do this. That little
Yeah.
bit is uh, is definitely a fun part of it. I want to be fun dad with my kid. Hey, dad, let's go do this thing. Sure, I don't have to think about it. I know in the past that some of the stuff that you've asked, like, hey, why do you love fitness? Well, because I don't have to think about whether I can do that. I can just go do it. So again, as my kid is coming up and getting older, and hey, let's go hike that mountain. Okay, cool, let's do it. Let's go skiing. Let's do it. Let's go do this thing. Okay. I don't have to think about it. So now some of my biggest drivers is just quality of life, my profession, um, just enjoy myself. And honestly, at this point, I've been doing it so long, I feel awful when I don't work out or get active. So
Yeah, that's interesting, right? Like as we get, how old are you again? 40, what?
42.
42. Okay, so you're 42. I'm
Mm-hmm.
36. I feel like guys in our age bracket, like as they're getting to about this age range, they start making up these excuses for why they can't do anything anymore.
I
And
just want to point one thing out real quick. Nick said our age bracket, which means he just admitted he is a master. Just putting that out
like, once I cross, damn it, once I cross 35,
there.
it's over, man. It's over.
Yep.
It's over.
I wanted
But,
that for the record. Continue.
but I feel like especially guys over the age of like 30, let's say like 32, 33. they start doing this thing where they're like, oh, I can't do that. I'm not young enough for
Hmm.
that. And I think it's crazy, bro, because we realistically have 30, 40, 50, 60 years of our lives left. Like,
Hmm.
how are you just going to not be able to do things for the next 50 years?
I mean, yeah, like you're talking about, at that point, it's a extremely modest expectation to be maybe halfway through your life.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you should have probably 60% of your life left after, getting 30 easy,
Uh-huh.
especially as modern medicine keeps getting better and better over time. So, yeah, to think like, okay, my time of doing X is over. Why?
Yeah, it feels like a motivating factor to me too as I get older. Is like, while I may not care so much about like my PRs or whatnot, like
Mm-hmm.
like you said, I want to just be able to forever do whatever I want to go do. Maybe not the
Mm-hmm.
best at it, but I'll be pretty damn good and not have to think, oh, I can't go do that. I can't go try skiing because my knees hurt, or I can't climb a mountain because I haven't tried that in 4 years.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's the important thing. Quality of life is huge. And I mean, that filters into so many things. I mean, one, activities, great. We want to be able to go do the things, take the trips we want to. I remember seeing a meme that was like, don't wait to travel. And it was this like 80-year-old people, couple that's just passed out cold in the middle of the afternoon in an Italian gondola. Just they waited their whole life to take this trip, to Venice, and they can't stay away for the boat ride, because they don't have the energy, and but sweet, but still kind of that reminder, like, okay, yeah, no, I want to be able to do that stuff. Um, but the things we do today echo later. I see that consistently through my job. It is heartbreaking how many people as early as their 50s can't barely get themselves off the ground. If something bad happened, they don't have a chance. They physically would not be able to get out of harm's way. That's scary, and that's pretty young to be at that point.
Mhm. Yeah, theoretically, a
And
lot
then,
more time where you can't.
yeah, and then on the other hand, there's 80-year-old marathoners out there, that would run circles around me, triathletes that would leave me in the dust. So, yeah, I choose the latter. Um,
Good. Good.
you think about the medications, again, the limitations, just the way you feel in the morning. Um, yeah, I see these people's quality of life and how active they are, what they do, really echoes through the rest of their life and compounds later on. If they gave up in their 30s at being active, you think of that 30 years later now, wow, their body is absolutely quitting.
Yeah, it's something like 90% of people who don't start working out by the age of 30 regularly never do,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's crazy because most people haven't started to put on like tons of fat or lose tons of muscle until around like, 30, 31, 35, 37. But if you haven't picked up that habit, man, you're on a downslope from that point forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I think people underestimate again, like, oh, now that time's passed. So who?
Right. We got
Like,
60 and 70
what?
year olds who train in the gym with us all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Like, who says you can't build muscle in your 30s and 40s and 50s? You
Uh-huh.
absolutely can.
Uh-huh.
Um, you know, do you probably want to be the size of a bodybuilder in your 60s? Probably not. Might beat up the joints a little bit. They got a couple extra miles on them, but can you hold a great muscle mass? I.e. the 12 pack, we got Randy running around with a 12 pack. We've got, Miss Janet that I'm still envious, I think she's got some of the most jacked arms in the gym, I mean, like,
Uh-huh.
seriously?
Uh-huh.
Like, come
Um,
on.
so if you had to describe like the community we have at Sharkbite, in your opinion,
Hmm.
how would you describe it? Give me a couple words on it.
Ah, you feel at home, really there, because you recognize so many people right off the bat. You know, I noticed it as a member, but as a member, you go to one class. As a coach, when I got to coach so many different classes, just watching people go, "Oh, somebody new, hi," and it wasn't even like a second thought. I didn't prompt anybody to do that and ask anybody to go to this and say hi. It was just like, "Oh, somebody new, how's it going?" And you just come talk, and then the next night when they come in, it's, "Hey, how's it going, Dad? How you feeling after this?" It was everybody was there to welcome and bring you in there. So it's the place you want to go at when you come off of work. I had a long day. All right, I'm going to the gym. It's not. I'm going to go to the bar. I'm going to go to. I want to go to the gym because that's where I'm going to be happy. So that would be how I describe it. We got really lucky with an amazing set of people there that just make you want to go there.
Yeah, to this day, one of my like happiest, proudest moments still. Because I like this when I travel, I'll drop into like CrossFit gyms, metabolics,
Mm-hmm.
F45s, like micro gyms that are not named anything specific. Like when I see someone at our gym and a new person walks in and four people are like, "What's up, man? What's your name?" I love that, dude. It
Mm-hmm.
makes me so 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 happy. That's not the case
Yeah.
everywhere.
No, definitely not. I mean, I just took the trip over to Ireland and dropped into two different gyms. And I mean, the first one, it was only the trainer and a guy that I was there with. So we didn't have a chance to really meet anybody. But second gym I walked into, not one person said hi the entire time. Yeah, I was just like, okay, well, hi guys. I don't bite.
um, okay, so if you were talking to someone who's like nervous about starting to get fit or coming to start by or just do start doing healthy stuff in general, what would you tell them? Give a couple words to that person who's like on the fence or scared to do it.
Leave your expectations behind you. Leave your fears and expectations. Every time we walk into anything new, we look at it and we've got this preconceived, like, okay, they're going to want me to do this. I mean, I can understand somebody absolutely slamming the computer shut and running away if they just pull up CrossFit on there and they've never done anything functional and they start seeing muscle ups and handstand walking and huge weights getting thrown around and everything. That isn't it. Come and find out what it really is for you, and it's an activity that involves a workout. It is kind of what I would describe it as, because we cater so much to different people for strengths, weaknesses, disabilities, whatever it is. You don't have to walk in being at any certain level. As you know, my PT client Steve, his main goal was to be able to pick up a suitcase and put it in and out of a trunk when he travels without hurting him. I mean, one of the most modest goals I've ever heard in my life, and it was fantastic. I was like, okay, cool. And he was so excited the first time we went to go on a trip that, hey, my back doesn't hurt coming back from this ski trip because I had to load my suitcase in and out. And now he's telling me about, after the hurricanes, how he was running around like cleaning up half the block, running circles around all his neighbors, doing stuff.
So
So,
cool.
yeah, like don't come in scared because you heard something or thought, oh, I can't do this, or this. Okay, cool. I got another option. We got something else. We're still getting workout, still get fit, and we'll work towards other options. And I mean, you've been coaching longer than me. How many people have you seen at this point that I'll never blank, and now it's their favorite thing to do when they go in the gym? If you just leave them alone for 5 minutes, it's like, what? That's what they're over there doing. The thing they said they could never do the day they walked in the gym.
Yeah, I was working with last night. I won't say her name on here, but I think she knows what I'm talking about. One of our members who used to not be able to hang for like one like knee raise, and she was getting really
Mm-hmm.
frustrated about that. She's like, "I'll never be able to do that." In the workout we had yesterday that had like 100 knee raises, she was getting mad because she couldn't hang on for the full set of 20. And I was like, "Dude, are you joking?
Right.
Doing 20 times what you used to say you couldn't do? Like, how cool is
Yep. They're so blunt about it too. You walk in, they look at it and go, "Yeah, no." It's
that?"
like, yes, you can. We can get you there. But yeah, it's funny, seeing those expectations disappear and everything. So yeah, I'd say leave those at the door. Come on in, check it out. Especially on Bring a Friend days because we make it so it's something that everybody can do. Is it going to hit hard? Well, yeah, it's not something you've done before. I used to mountain bike and I haven't done that in 5 years. If I just grabbed a bike and went out there, I mean, I'm probably going to have to get carried off the trail because I haven't done it forever. But yeah, just because you haven't done it doesn't mean you can't do it. And, don't be scared to try it.
Um, what made you want to coach, John? Because I remember when you came to us, because you reached out to us versus the other way around, which is
Mm-hmm.
not very common. Talk to me. Why did you want to become a coach?
It's something I've thought about for a while. I wanted to be a little bit more active in it. I've always kind of felt like a student of it on my own, but dating myself, going from muscle magazines, when that was the only information you had, to, dive into Dr. Google that wants to teach you all different things, oh, here, click here to follow my program. It's just a sea of information you just get kind of lost in. So it was an opportunity for me to learn a lot about what I personally wanted to know about, but also then have the ability to teach that onto other people. I really enjoy that. It's one of my favorite parts of the job, especially now as a lieutenant. I have probationary firefighters that come in all the time, and every single shift we go out and we train, and I teach them the skills and from my experience and things like that. So getting to kind of continue that and move it forward, I love doing that.
Yeah, I think that's something you do really well is when members are in here, I think you do a really good job of teaching them so that they don't feel like oh, I'm stupid or oh, I don't get it. Like you do a very good job of communicating um, to them without belittling them. I think that's like a very strong skill of yours, which is not common in the
Thank
fitness
you.
industry, I think. So
Oh, thank you. I love watching people succeed at something. I mean, I guess I wouldn't say that I could point to one thing in my life that's like, man, I had this struggle thing, but we've all had something that we've struggled at, and just that feeling of just, oh, why isn't this working? What's going on here? And it's like, oh, here, let me show you how to fix that. It's like that's what I had to do. That's it. You had this aha
yeah,
moment, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, if I just have known. Well, cool. Let me show you. So that's
yeah.
fun. I really enjoy that.
I think the best coaches, and I'm sure other people can have different opinions, but I think the best coaches in something are people that struggled themselves and then like
Mm,
learned how to overcome it. I think oftentimes like really, really good athletes are not the best coaches. We had a coach from a very long time ago. He was, in my opinion, one of the only people who was ever like amazing athlete from day one, but was able to bridge this gap. Where Tyler, like
yep.
he was the best athlete we've ever had at the gym by far, and he was one of the very few people that was like able to communicate those things to people who weren't that way, even though he didn't have that struggle. But even him, like
Mm.
I remember we did one banded drill one time, and he like had us all do it. I had to go up to him afterwards and be like, "Bro, nobody else can do the thing you just did." Like, and I remember like watching his gears turn and being like, "Oh," but then like the next time he did it, he was able to communicate it differently.
Yep.
But I really think the best teachers and best coaches are someone who struggled with that thing, overcame it, and
hmm
now have like the ability to help others overcome it. I think you do a really good job with that.
Thank you. Yeah, I remember some of the most frustrating times at some of the gyms I went to is I literally had a coach who was like, just do this. And then would go demo something. I'm like, I'd love to. I've been trying for like 20 minutes to do this, but I don't know what this is. Could you maybe break down this?
Yeah, it's weird how
I'm,
this wasn't helpful.
yeah, yeah. I'm on the struggle bus with this exact thing. If you could kind of break that down for me, that'd be great.
um, what has been like if you could say one thing to members, right? Not new people, but members, like you wish
Mm.
they knew, what would you tell them
Ooh.
from your time as a coach? Now that
Um,
you've got years and experience and coached tons of people.
I still feel like people are afraid to ask a question.
Well,
I think that's one of those things, ask for help, ask for like, hey, what can I do for this? How can I change this? What can I do for this? I think people are still afraid to do that. At first you just timid and shy. Maybe it turns into a little bit of the, well, I should know, so I'm not going to ask now kind of feeling or something like that. But I think people are still just afraid to ask, hey, do you have any tips on how to do this clean? Do you have any tips on how to get closer to pull-ups or something like that? Yes, I do. You
quite a
know,
few.
yeah, I have quite a few. Yeah, exactly. I can give you a couple now. I can give you a whole bunch more in a skill session later. I could do like that, in a seminar and other times. Like we can build this whole thing up. Again, we can make this your thing if you want it to be your thing. But don't be afraid to ask.
Cool. I like that. Okay. Two final
Yep.
questions and then we're done. So
Mm.
if you were a wrestler, and you had to walk
Hmm.
out to a theme song, what would that song be?
Oh, all right. Music question.
Says a lot about a person, so be careful what you answer.
Yeah, I know that is tough. We have to circle back to that. I don't know. I was sitting here for a lot of dead air time trying to think of that one. Uh, Wrestler walking out. Yeah, I'm dying. I
Okay, I guess it's
gotta
silence.
admit, yeah,
That scares me
silence.
actually. All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'd have to
Well,
just look something up.
I'm going to put you on the spot for another one here. Okay.
Okay.
You have one chance. If you lose, the world's over. I don't know. You got to beat Coach Valerie in a workout. What movement are you picking?
Uh, let's see. I'm picking rower. Uh, hmm. Deadlift.
Mhm.
And I think I might be able to edge her out in shoulder to overhead.
Okay. Yeah, I think you
Not
picked your strengths
handstands.
there.
Not handstands. Let me be very clear. That is not handstand push-ups. That is not handstand walks. Very clear though. But straight barbell, shoulder overhead press. I think I got that. Those
Awesome.
might be the only things on a really good day that I can beat Coach
Yeah.
Val.
Like that's not
She
even a
might
guarantee.
also
So
have to be sick, like
yeah.
103 fever, flu, or something like that. But yeah,
um, John, thank you for hopping on with me, man. This has been awesome. Thank you for everything you do for our members. Thanks for being an awesome dude.
no, thanks for having me, Nick. I appreciate it.
All right. Bye bye.